Hi, I'm here with Vicky from TGAW, and she's going to tell us a little bit about what she does.
Okay. So first off, I started 3D printing a year before I owned my 3D printer. So I just started learning the design software Blender, which all I knew about it was that it was free. And I learned it while I was on maternity leave. And I learned in 10 to 15 minute increments. It took a while, but you can learn in short bursts and it does add up. And then this is what I've done with this added up knowledge. I did have a lot of stuff printed at Shapeways, before I had my own printer. This is a little dial-a-lantern that you can have 3 different types of eyes or nose or mouth, and you can configure it. But about after a year of designing and printing from Shapeways, my family surprised me with a 3D printer for my birthday, and they got me a Maker Gear M2. Cool. And I thought I loved 3D printing before, and it wasn't until I had the Maker Gear M2 that I really, really loved 3D printing. And at first, it felt like it was going to be a step down, going from the fancy selective laser centering printers that Shapeways has, like the really high resolution, and you don't have to design with supports. But with my own printer, I have so much control, and there's hackability with it. So I learned how to change colors. So I started doing birds that reminded me of my grandma. I learned how to pause prints and put in mirrors, so I made a candle holder with embedded mirrors and vases. This year for our local maker fair, I focused on upcycling projects. So I made bracelets with embedded soda cans in it. I've been doing a lot of stuff with Tic Tac containers. I made planters with them, and now I hold a lot of my craft supplies and beads in Tic Tac containers. I've done planters out of filament spools, and then up here the lamp is out of Keurig K-cups. Cut them we empty out the coffee grounds, we put it in our compost pile, and then we cut them into daisies, and the centers are all 3D printed yellow centers to make this lamp, 156 K-cups.
Well, cool. Now, do you do this as a business, as a side business, or?
Yeah, it is a side business. I'm nowhere near quitting my day job at all, which my boss is very relieved about. But it does pay for itself. It does pay for my printers and my filaments. So I do some craft shows in my town, and we've been doing craft shows in my town for 40 years, and so I've been keeping that tradition going in my own little part, trying to bring new technology to it. And then I also have an Etsy shop. I sometimes get paid to do something I really like doing, which is talk about 3D printing and training people and try to empower them to make the things they want. And then I also had an opportunity in this past year I was approached by a publisher, and I wrote a book. So.
Wow,
yeah.
Wrote a book. I'm going to have to, what's your book about?
Oh, it's about Blender. Blender is open source and it's free, but it also is notorious for a learning curve, and it's also geared for animation and gaming. So it's not always making the best 3D printed models. So my book is just sort of walking through 4 different 3D printing projects and how you would design it and make sure that it's going to be printable when the end product comes out.
Well, that's awesome, Vicky. Now, you got to tell us where they can find you.
Okay, so I have a sparsely updated YouTube station. It is TGAW 3D. You can find me at TGAW on Twitter. And I also have a website where I sometimes do some 3D printing blogging. That's www.tgaw.com. And on that opening page of my website, you can see my Etsy shop, like the latest things I've uploaded there. There's a link to my book if you want to buy it. And the latest YouTube video would be embedded in there as well.
Cool, Vicky. Now, you have an interesting story about what TGAW stands for and how it came about, so we've got to have that.
Okay. So, really not terribly arrogant. TGAW stands for The Great and Wonderful, and this dates back to when I was about 9. My cousin and I were pen pals, and he used to sign his name Adam Sawyer, the Great and Best, and I wanted to be cool like that too, so I was Vicky Sawyer, the Great and Wonderful, and then as we wrote letters back and forth, we started abbreviating, so he was TGAB and I was TGAW.
That's awesome, Vicky. Thank you for your time.
Oh, thank you.
And we'll see you around, because we see you at these things.
On the Fridays.
That's right. Thank you, Vicky.